Hello, my darlings. I'm coming at you with a little bit of a tech warning. Once again, I did have a bit of an audio issue that I was unaware of while recording this episode, so please do excuse the technological difficulties here. This is an awesome episode. Morgan J is the shit. He is on the rise, and we are so lucky to have him with us. So please do enjoy this episode. And you're going to get the regular old content warning. This is a podcast about sex and sex education, meaning that is not suitable for all audiences. So please do take care of yourself and or your children. And one more thing to plug, I will be at the Hollywood Burlesque Festival this Saturday, March 9th with Rena Martine doing a live broadcast. Well, we're going to be on Instagram Live, and I'm going to be interviewing, both of us are going to be interviewing burlesque performers all day for a special episode of Birds and Bees Don't Fuck. So if you are in the Los Angeles area, this is a 3-day festival. It is incredible. We are going to be at the Saturday Bazaar. You can get 20% off of your whole tickets, all of them, whether you're coming for one night or the entire festival, all 3 days. Just use offer code Birds and Bees. That's birds ampersand bees. That's a squiggly little and sign. And get yourself 20% off. Come on over to the bazaar and you could win a chance. Well, no, you're going to enter to win either an Esmeralda wand, which is oh so yummy, or a copy of Rena's book, The Sex You Want, which is amazing. So great prizes. Come and see us. Get your tickets for 20% off at using offer code Birds and Bees Don't Fuck. You can visit Hollywood Burlesque Festival, and I will put the info in the show notes. But enough of me talking. Enjoy the episode. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but sex education of the past failed us. Because birds and bees, they don't fuck. Welcome to Birds and Bees Don't Fuck, a show where we learn exactly how bad our formative sex education, or lack thereof, really was. I'm your host, Ariel Zadok. I'm a producer, intimacy coordinator, and sexologist. My guest today is a musician and comedian who has sold out all of his fucking shows for his world tour from January to May before we even started this podcast. Welcome to the show, Morgan J.
What is up? How are you? How you feeling?
I was so fucking stoked to see that all your shows are sold out. You start in 2 days. You haven't even started this tour.
Kinda, yeah.
Ish. I don't know, based on the internet.
So the real tour, I mean, I'm officially going to be like on the road starting in March more often, but I have a couple shows here and there. February is kind of light, but come March, I'm like gone from March to May, and we're gallivanting all through Europe, a couple of American cities, and I'm stressed, but I'm excited, and I'm going to organize all my vitamins and make sure we stay healthy.
That's right. Take your little suppies.
Yeah, I think people think that when you're a touring artist, you go a little crazy. I don't really indulge in a whole lot. There's only one or two things I indulge in. But so when I'm not like smoking or drinking on tour because I have to like keep my voice in a good place. Mm-hmm. I don't really stay out late. I'm like pretty boring.
Same. I gotta sleep.
I gotta sleep.
You gotta sleep. It's not, you know, and
especially
I think that
when you're city to city, dude.
Yeah.
You're in a different hotel. I mean, I pack a pillow with me and shit. You know?
You have to, because you're also. It's one thing to be a performer, and that's a lot. I worked at the Tampa Improv for like years, slinging drinks and shit.
Yeah. I was just there.
Which
my
was
last show.
Oh yay!
That was the last show of my tour.
Oh, I wonder if Bob is still there. Is Bob still the manager there?
What does he look like? I think he is. I think he is there. I think that was the guy. I think there's never been a more Bob character to greet me at the.
I'm very sure Bob is still there.
Yeah.
He's a great dude.
Oh yeah.
He let me do the vagina monologues there. Like
really?
I out of thin air, I was like, hey, can I do this show in like 3 weeks? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Here, do it. Wow. We sold out. And he's like, do you want to do another one? Because we just sold out. And I was like, fuck yes, I do. And so that guy's, he's great. He's really wonderful. But all that to say is that my experience of comedy clubs back then in like the early 2000s was like everyone, for the most part, unless they were like the older comics, like people had real bad habits. Like people were out getting fucked up and drinking. Not everybody, but a lot. But I feel like it's changing a little bit? I feel like people are taking better care of themselves in certain circles to be
You have to
more active.
Especially if you want to be like a top professional touring act. I think you can't really, you'll lose your voice, you'll get tired. And also, like, I don't know, I keep my audience in mind. They're paying money to see me. I want to make sure everybody gets their money's worth. And if I did Miami the night before and I have Tampa the next day, it's like, I can't really go crazy in Miami, but I don't have a show after Tampa, so I mean, how late are we staying up? Not like drinking or anything, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. And that's integrity, you know.
Yeah.
It's a performance integrity to care for your audience because they are coming to see you, and that's like, oh my God, thank you so much.
And there's the whole reason they're paying my bills, you know what I mean? I gotta show them some love, you know. Show them some love.
Sing them some sweet
Sing them some sweet, get them in the mood. My whole show is very sex positive. I'm trying to get people horny.
I love it. I'm
trying to get people to fuck. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
I'm trying to fuck. Shit. Who am I really trying to? Who am I really trying to get horny? You know what I'm saying?
You know, this is going to be released the beginning of March, which means that he is coming to a town near you. He's clearly horny, so look at this face, okay?
Look at this ethnically ambiguous face. Look at this ratatouille looking face.
Oh my God, ethnically ambiguous.
Ratatouille.
I totally understand that.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, I have no idea what you are. You probably have no idea what I am. But
well, I'm assuming I see that over there. So
what, the dick?
Wait.
The dildo? Do you see the dildo up there?
Is there
oh no, he's tipped over.
No,
the dildo has tipped.
I was gonna say I see the
menorah.
The menorah.
Yeah, that's my parents trying to make me a Jew. And
I get it. I get it. I also see this tequila from Kevin Hart's tequila. I was just sent that.
So,
for the movie.
Yeah, a friend of mine was on a job with him a few months ago and he was staying here. Caramino, it's very good. Like, not trying to make this a Kevin Hart ad, but wow.
Yeah, I haven't sipped mine yet.
That is really, really good tequila. I've opened it so you can have a little sip before you go. It's shit, we drink tequila now.
Why don't you?
Well, with a voice like yours. Oh man, so your show is sexy, and so much of your songs seem to be around like sex and relationships and like a bit like you just have such a beautiful take on it all, and it's fun and funny. And so like talk to me about how you started wooing people with your voice.
I mean, real talk, I started doing stand-up. I was doing stand-up for like 5-6 years. I had a couple auditions for Just for Laughs, which is a major comedy festival, and it didn't pan out at the time, and I wasn't really having fun doing my jokes anymore, and I just was like, if I do this, I have to have fun doing it. So I was always singing, playing songs, and so I slowly transitioned into, the guitar comedy, stuff like that. And then a couple years after that, we started incorporating the crowd into some songs, and then a couple years after that, in the last year or two, we've incorporated the auto-tune and the vocal effects on stage and things like that. And I mean, 16 years later, I mean, I don't want to age myself, but I'm going to be 37 in a couple of weeks. We have a sold-out tour. The follower count has gone up, and everybody wants some.
Everybody wants some. Well,
and it's like really lovely, and I'm really grateful, and I'm living literally a movie, and I'm taking every moment into account, and I'm just very happy. So that's kind of what happened. So. Although I will say with the singing, I didn't really feel comfortable singing. It took me like 5 or 6 years to really feel like I was doing something on stage. You know what I mean? I mean with the music.
With the music part. That's gotta be a weird transition from going from
very weird
stand-up, and like how scary is that to be the guy that's bringing a fucking guitar on stage now, and people are like, oh.
Especially in the comedy community. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of examples of comedians who have been hugely successful,
sensual, sexual.
Who have been successul. I mean, Adam Sandler being one of them.
Yeah.
But overall, there's a lot of examples of people doing musical comedy that it's not good.
It doesn't work out.
Sound. It's like not that great. And so it's also kind of looked at like, oh, if you do that, you can't really tell jokes. And sure, maybe that's what it is, but I can do other things. And it's interesting, people don't really realize that, but like 20 years ago, actually no, maybe 40 years ago, the 80s and the 90s were almost 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Comedy TV, like stand-up variety shows had comedians magicians,
Yes.
prop comics,
Yes.
puppeteers, musicians. They had like every kind of act, and I feel like they were all bullied out by like the stand-ups, the purists.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but I think there is space for a variety act on those lineups to shake it up and change things up. And I think what I used to feel insecure about going to these comedy shows, I'm kind of like, I feel like very happy to show up now because I've seen so much comedy that it's like a joke. To the point, I've seen so much comedy where I can't remember, I don't even remember sometimes who's telling the joke anymore. Like, if I try to quote a joke, I'm like, I don't even know who said it, but this was the joke. Because they all sort of sound the same cadence, that everybody's doing like a certain type of comic, and so I feel I'm very comfortable now with the singing, and I try to embrace the little inner rock star that I have when I go on stage. You know
It's
what I mean?
so
even to the point this year I started wearing outfits that are a little bit more out there on stage, that I would not normally wear. But I saw this band Croonman at the Greek Theater. I'm a big fan of them. And they just dress how they all wear wigs. They dress however the fuck they want.
Yeah, get your drag on, baby.
They do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And I was just like, as a musician, you kind of have the liberty to inhabit this kind of larger than life persona.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, little by little, I'll transition into that sort of type of thing. I'll wear crazy stuff on stage. Like, why not?
Why not?
Why not, dude? It's a show.
It's a show. Have fun, and that is,
especially,
in essence, that's an entertainer, right? Like, you're not just a stand-up. You're not just a musician. You are an entertainer. So you are creating a whole experience.
And people want to see Liberace not just for his insane piano talents, but because you wore these outrageous outfits.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
I want to see the sparkle and the twinkle a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah.
I just bedazzled a whole fucking costume for myself. I
Oh,
host a burlesque, like an acro burlesque show, and I just spent days and days bedazzling a costume, and it looked so fucking good. I'll show you a photo after.
No, wear it.
Or now, because I should give you the reaction shot. It was just like extraordinary, but that's just it. It's like,
show me the reaction.
Get into your drag, like whatever it is.
I don't want to be like, I'm nervous to see it because then what if I'm like too like okay.
It's good.
Yeah, that's great.
That's good, right? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll show the people.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. So fucking be big.
Be big.
Be
bold.
big. Be bold.
Let
like
it out.
However you want to show up, and that is in the bedroom too. Like,
I honestly thought about starting to do my shows just with gray sweats.
Yes. Oh my God, the gray sweats thing. Yes,
Yeah.
that is. So the gray sweats is the equivalent of what I just showed you.
Yeah. Apparently women have like some women have like gray sweat folders, gray sweats, like guys with the gray sweats, with the imprint, with the no underwear. That's kind of like they like, I feel like for women it's like the suggestion more than the outright visualization of like the seeing of it.
It's fantasy.
The fantasy,
it's
right?
The fantasy.
And with men, it's a little bit of both, but I think with men it's more like, stick your asshole in front of it.
Yeah.
it's
it's
like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, guys are very simple creatures, I don't know.
But it's a really important thing to understand the differences in different people. If you grew up as a woman or if you grew up as a man or however you're identifying. And of course there are so many different variations and expressions and genders and all of those things. But just to speak to the binary for a second here, when you're looking at how a man fucks versus how a woman fucks, they're totally different. Yeah. And the problem is that men are trying to fuck women like men. And it's like, that's not how we have sex. That's not how we enjoy it. That's not how we get turned on. Like, our bodies are different. Our brains are different.
If I can give advice to the fellas watching, you got to work on your dirty talk game. The auditory stimulation is very real.
Yep.
And sometimes it can do more than your hands or your tongue or your wiener can. That's like I feel like it's one of my fortes, if I'm on the same page with the person, right? Like, we'd have a conversation like, are you sub, are you dom? Like, what are your boundaries? How comfortable do you feel with this? Like, do you how affectionate do you want to be? How violent do you want to be? How aggressive do you want to be? What does that look like? And what does that look like? And
what does aggressive mean to you?
Exactly, and what does submissive being mean, or what does dominant mean? Is it just telling somebody what to do,
Mm-hmm.
or is it grabbing somebody by the back of their hair and then controlling where they move in a space? You know what I mean? So you gotta have those conversations. I don't ever understand like why people aren't having the conversations before they hook, especially in a casual. I had a casual hookup once, and I was like, "So what do you like? Like, what do you want to do? Like, what are you into?" And she was like so confused. She was like, well, "Why do you want to talk so much?" And I was like, "Well, if we're gonna hook up one time for the whole of our existence, don't you want it to be good?
Yeah, 100%.
Don't you want to do the things you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the problem? You know, I don't want to guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I could guess and
But
figure it out, but
that's
that's
not gonna go well.
but you never know. I mean, I might do some shit you don't like, and then all of a sudden there'll be this huge miscommunication, and then you're gonna be like, "I'm turned off. I'm freaked out. What the fuck?" You know, I don't know. So tell me what the boundaries are. You know what I mean? Like, tell me what it's always really you gotta talk it out. You gotta communicate. You know.
Great prep, great production, and it's the same thing with sex. Talk it out, plan it out. It doesn't seem like it. I actually have a class on sexual communications because people, it's like no one knows what to talk about before, during, and after sex.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about the after sex. Like, what do you need after a sexual experience?
I'll tell you a story. I hooked up with a girl once, and dom sub thing, and I said like, what kind of aftercare would you like? What can I do after? She never even heard the term aftercare.
Yeah.
She didn't even know what it was.
It's not in our lexicon.
She was like, I remember she walked away from the experience. Like, she texted me later and was like, I don't know why I feel like weird about this situation. I was like, because you like left immediately, and I didn't tell you to do that, and I offered this thing,
Yeah.
and I had to explain what this was, and it's like, because aftercare could take many shapes or forms. It doesn't necessarily have to be like you're like petting somebody and giving somebody a bath. It could be like a light cuddle. It could be getting somebody water. It could be asking them how they're doing. It could be like all these.
It could be a cookie.
It could be anything to show that you're not just treating this person like an object.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because if you do that and you don't have the other part of it, then the person really leaves feeling like they were used. And because some people do like to feel like that in the bedroom, but in everyday life, you know what I mean? Like, so you really have to have those conversations because it could lead to a lot of issues and.
Absolutely, and that is something. I mean, these before. All of it, like the before, after, and during conversations, like it's not silent. Like you don't need to be silent when you're fucking. Like you can be saying, "Is this okay? Do you want to hear? Do you want this harder? Do you want it softer? Is this okay?" Like
you could be totally dom, but also right in the middle, be like, "Hey, just just like let me know if anything's weird."
Literally, that's what doming is.
That's literally all it is.
Like
literally, like do not be afraid to tell me to stop something. You know what I mean?
That's why we have safe
It
words.
takes 2 seconds. It takes 2 seconds to check in.
Yeah.
Especially for me, if I'm on the road having sex with a stranger, I like check in like an abundant amount of times now because it's just like as my profile goes up, I have to be you just gotta be careful. You gotta be like really clear. Like you gotta be really clear.
Mm-hmm.
There can be literally no room for miscommunication.
100%, especially not as a man in comedy.
I was hooking up with another. I hate saying this because I do have a girlfriend, and we are in an open thing. And, I travel a lot. She's a makeup artist for film and TV, and
good for her.
Sometimes she works months. Sometimes we don't see each other for like several months at a time.
Yeah.
I
know that. Maybe I'll work with her.
Yeah, maybe you will work with her.
Maybe I have already.
Yeah, but it's like, this girl was like, do you normally do this? Like, why are you checking in so much? Like, why do you keep asking? I just kind of explained it the way I explained it to you. It's like you can't take any risks or chances.
Yeah. Why would I not?
What
do I have to lose by not checking in? I have everything to lose by. What do I have to lose by checking in? I have everything to lose by not checking in, and everything to gain by checking in. And if you're not into me checking in, that's okay. We don't need to do this again. We can just stop. Also, I think that's another thing that's really worth noting is that it's okay to stop.
Also, for the guys, okay, I'll say this. As somebody, I was kind of like a nerd. I was a funny class clown in high school, right? I went to a very white school. I was like an ethnic guy in a white school. I didn't have my first kiss till like I was like 16. I didn't lose my virginity until I was in college when I was 18. And that is all to say, also for a while I was hooking up with like, when I started having sex, I kind of was hooking up with anybody who would like give me the attention, you know? And it's weird now where like some people want my attention. I'm now kind of seeing what it's like to be a woman when like, if you really just don't really feel like hooking up, or you go on a date and you're just kind of not feeling it, and you say no, but you know like the person's gonna feel bad or some shit, and it's like, you know, so then now I'm like saying, and especially if a guy says no to a woman, because that doesn't happen as often, and so
or we're told that it doesn't.
We're told that it doesn't, and so it's just weird because like I'm also somebody I'm very empathetic, and I don't like to make people feel bad, and if I don't want to, you know, have sex, like you said, you don't have to do it. I tell myself that sometimes when I go out, like, hey man, you don't have to do anything tonight. You don't have to do anything. Like I really have to tell myself that. Like, you don't have to feel, because there is a part of me that feels like you should have as much sex as possible, because like you're only like young and virile for a while, and then you can't really do
but
it,
that's not like not really coming from you. That's coming from messages from society, right?
Yeah.
Should
right?
Should is a dirty fucking word, not even the good kind.
Yeah. So I've operated from that headspace for a while, and little by little I'm kind of toning it back a little bit. Just a little bit.
There's a lot to be said about
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Please do still approach him. No. You know, there's a lot to be said around intentional sex.
Yeah.
It's you can have casual intentional sex.
100%.
And that is, at least for me, like I'm not interested in having the type of sex that's not intimate, that's not intentional, that's not thinking about the other person, that's not having these conversations, that's not going to have aftercare. Like, why am I going to do that? I can fuck myself and it's going to be great and I'm going to have all of my needs met. But if I'm going to be interacting with another person,
you'll be done sooner.
It's more efficient.
You'll have time to watch Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, you know, unless I want to take my time, which is a whole other topic of like, you know,
there's those nights too.
Yeah, you have light the candles, do whatever you got to do. Like, take your time.
Get the machines out.
Get all the pleasure.
Get all the heavy machinery out.
All the heavy machinery, line up your pleasure product. I went to Vibe Expo this weekend, so I've got a whole bunch of new products.
You know, it's so funny. That's like the only types of products I could really endorse on my platform, because my stuff, everybody's like, you make a lot of money off your following? I'm like, no, because I talk about like sex and fucking too much, and so nobody ever I can't like get sponsored by, you know, a vegan food company or some shit. You know, it's
I'm trying to change that. Like, I really want to help the sexual wellness community and the pleasure product, you know, business just elevate. And like, what do we need to do over time to get this industry? Because all adults have body parts, even if you're not having sex. We all have sexual organs, whatever the makeup may be. We all experience sexuality. We all are in this world. Even if you're asexual, you're still experiencing your body and sexuality and all of these things. You don't have to be masturbating or being with anybody else. But, you know, we have this entire industry that for the entire existence of humanity has been shadowed. We're still getting shadow banned. We have to censor so much.
Crazy, isn't it?
It is. And so it's like, what do we need to do to get this industry up to everything else? And a big part of it is money and legislation and things like that.
Just normalizing it.
Normalizing it.
I think guys feel weird getting like a master, like a, what's the word, like an actual masturbator, a fleshlight, or one of those like masturbators.
Yeah.
Guys are afraid to do that. Meanwhile, you know, girls have a 12-inch Hitachi wand. It's like it's alright, fellas. Get yourself that fake ass, dude. Fuck that shit.
And there's so many products. I saw something today, the male rose, was like, you stick your penis in. The one that they have out right now, it's got like these little like bubbles and ridges in it. I guess I'm doing an ad for them right now. But it's got these bubbles and ridges in it, and you turn it on and it spins around your penis. So that was cool. And then the new one that they have coming out, like, you know, it will be out by the time this podcast is out. It squeezes. So I don't think it does the twisting and the squeezing, but it just like, it squeezes.
Can I be complete? And this is a light flex. This is a light flex. I have tried these things, but they are not built for somebody like me.
Okay.
And it's like, I've been looking for things that are
Yeah.
more,
I'll help you find
literally. My girlfriend and she's like, let me see you use it real quick. And the machine broke.
Yeah.
Like the motor stopped working or some shit. And it was a very funny,
That's
very funny thing. So.
But yeah, I mean, but here's the thing.
Light flex.
Light flex. I mean, depending on the hole you're putting it, right?
I mean, that's true.
That's the thing. These creatures are going.
God, oh my God, I'm gonna come off so cringy in this. Oh no, it's okay, it's fine.
No,
Normalize it.
Normalize it. Listen, everybody is different,
Yeah.
and everybody has different needs. But that's why there are so many different pleasure products out there.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that we don't have access to getting to them because of all of this stuff that's in the way, like all of the sponsorship things that are in the way,
packaging.
the content, the packaging is in the way, guys.
Yeah.
But there are, and also the other thing about sex toys and pleasure products is that they're, for the most part, you can use the same thing in different ways, but we're just not getting creative about it.
Yeah, like what I saw for the Hitachi wand? There's actually an attachment you can put on the top of it for a man that you can, which is interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. I even bought one of those Theraguns. They sell attachments for Theraguns for sex.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like
the
like a
Theraguns,
thruster.
The Theraguns are like the massagers for like whatever.
Which also does work as a good vibrator, I'll tell you.
Yeah. And I was like, because you can take the heads off. And I was like, oh shit. I wonder if there's other. And there's like, of course, there's a ton of.
Yeah.
Find me a machine and tell me a person who didn't think of a way to fuck it.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You
And normalize it. Like there's just, and it's
Invent
just
the iPhone, 1,000 dick pics later.
1,000 and
Bazillion
million dick pics.
How many
later.
dick pics you think Apple's sitting on right now? You know what I'm saying?
Billions.
How many
Maybe
dick?
I would say trillions.
There's gotta be.
Trillions. Like
Gotta be.
I feel like in terms of dick pics, that's an easy number to get to.
Oh man.
Pretty quickly.
There's a folder on me somewhere in like the NSA or some shit. Just some guy named Steve looking at that. Morgan sent another dick pic.
There it is. Ooh, we like the angle of this one. He's getting better at his angles.
Yeah.
His lighting has changed. Did Morgan move? That looks like a different couch.
Oh god. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But it's tools in your toolbox.
Yeah.
We can't expect I met this woman. I'm like all in this expo, so I have so much to talk about. Yeah. But I met this woman that she calls herself the hand job genie.
Oh shit.
And we just got into this great conversation about
what kind of wishes does she grant? You know what I mean?
Really good ones.
Oh boy.
But digital sex, hand jobs on whatever body part you're doing it is a lost art. And I think a lot of people with vulvas get.
When you say digital sex, like digital.
Yeah, hands,
digits.
Digits. Hands are digits.
Yes,
so hand sex, digital.
I'll tell you this,
sex.
ladies, you might not know this, but some guys prefer a hand job to a blow job sometimes.
Yeah.
There's just more things can happen with the hands. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You slip a finger in the butt, you play with the balls and stuff. You could do some fun stuff.
You get a little perineum over there.
Oh,
there's so much you can do, and it's with all hand sex. It's about. Ruby does like to come onto this show at some point.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's so many different things you can do. First of all, always use lube. Like whatever you're doing, lube. Do not use spit. Please use lube.
Yeah,
that's my PSA about lube. Yeah. But how can we get creative with each other's bodies?
Oh yeah.
Forget about toys. Forget about all that stuff.
Also, sorry, I interrupted.
No. You can also.
I was gonna say I saw a podcast with some sort of a sex therapist. I forget what they were saying, but I said this before on podcast. Eliminate the take the orgasm out of the equation, and then let that redefine what the sexual experience is going to be between you and the other person. Because I feel like men are very goal oriented, right? And it will make it a more sensual. A more present and sensual experience.
100%. And as people experience more and more erectile dysfunction or dissatisfaction, because there's no dysfunction there, the older you get, the more it's going to happen. Like your penis just can't get that hard. It's the percentage goes up with your age. It's fine. It's totally normal.
I tried a blue chew. Just for fun, like, oh shit.
But I mean, even at that, you still need to get the erection for any sort of pill to work. But the point is that when you're working with couples who are experiencing that, we take the erection off the table.
Yeah.
How can you love a flaccid penis? What can you do with everything else? If your penis isn't hard, that's fine. What are all of the other things that you can do? And as it turns out, if you are in a cis straight relationship, that's the kind of stuff that's going to turn your partner on more too. So the more we can move away from like this penetration sex, like penis and vagina,
I'm guilty
bam,
of it.
bam.
I did it for a long. I mean, obviously I do it sometimes, but you know, like up until I was like 28, 29, I think that I wasn't really. I was like having sex, but I wasn't like really having sex.
Having sex,
You know what I mean?
yeah, because that's just one small part of sex. You know, like that's one way to have sex, but in order, especially for the person with a vulva, to feel good in that moment and to receive and to have pleasure in receiving the penis in their vagina, you got to do all the other things. Like we just got to slow it down. And sure, there's totally a time and a place for a quickie, but our general day-to-day sex, it needs to have more sensuality.
Yeah.
And both parties are going to be more comfortable.
You also gotta understand, like, for the fellas, like, you know, a woman is like risking her whole pH balance to have sex with you. This comic Veronica had a tweet like, when you hook up with a man, like, ask yourself, is he worth risking my pH balance?
That means that consistently comes up all the time.
You know, it's like, yeah, you gotta think about that. I don't know, fellas don't be thinking a whole lot, I think, when they're you know.
But nobody taught them, you know, like it's not.
Nobody taught me.
It's not their fault. Like I'm very passionate about cis straight men because I love y'all, but also I hate y'all. No, I don't hate you. But you know, like I hate having sex with you because you're fucking like men. But the more we can talk about it and normalize the fact that like, yo, y'all are fucking like men and we don't want that. Yeah. So let's help you not do that.
Right, because isn't it true? Like a lot of women watch gay porn or something like that, like the sensual stuff, like just the ability to see other people experience pleasure is a hot thing.
So with porn, a lot of people, some of it is just fantasy, but a lot of times people are watching what they want to have done to them. And sometimes, like, I know women who will watch gay porn, they don't want to like be in a male female dynamic or anything like that, but they'll watch two men together because they're fucking enjoying it. They're like really enjoying it, and that is a sexy thing to watch. But a lot of women, even if they have no inclination, no sexual feelings towards other women and no desire to actually be with another woman will watch two women or two people with vulvas in porn because they're getting what they want. They're seeing the fantasy of what they want done to them come to life.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, when we talk about sex education stuff, just to go back, like, to the original premise of what.
Yeah, I didn't even get to ask you where you're from and all that shit.
Yeah, no, but I was gonna say, like, I was raised in Jersey, and I think I vaguely remember my school being one of those schools that taught abstinence. Yeah. You know, which was interesting to be like an hour outside of New York City, and you know, in the suburban public school, and they were like teaching that. And I mean, I think there were several people at our school that got pregnant and had to leave school. And it's like that, is it the Rumpelstiltskin? It's like this metaphor. It's like, if somebody tells you that you're gonna get STDs and then you're gonna get pregnant, and so they just tell you not to do it. So when you finally do it, those things will probably happen. Whereas if you just took the time to like teach Rapunzel how to, or whoever it is, to spin the thread, you know, right? Because it was like, if she's gonna spin thread, so they never showed her.
Like prick herself in the body or something.
But if you just spent the first 10 years showing her how to do it,
she's not gonna prick herself.
She's not gonna prick herself, right? So that's kind of what the issue is. It's with that, and but now it's like, you know, I think they should shy away from the abstinence stuff now, like altogether, because it's like porn is so accessible that they're either gonna learn it. They're going to learn it two different ways. You know, it's going to be like, and all the porn you see is like, it's either, who was talking about, there's a comment talking about, it's like, porn is either like gang rape or like 4K sensual. It's like, it's like, there's like no in-between type of, you know what I'm saying? It's like people like one or the other, and that's what you're getting shown. It's like guys are seeing all these girls getting fucking violated on porn, so that's what they think sex is, and that's what women see, so they're like, that's what I have to do for the man. So it's like,
this is what it looks like. This is what sex looks like.
This is what it's supposed to be like.
But it's not. But I will say that a lot of people do have gangbang fantasies and kinks. So that's not a thing.
Oh no! 100%.
Yeah. No. But the problem is when that's the only access to like that when that's the only thing you're seeing. That being said, there's also ethical porn that does create way more expansive content, and a lot of ethical porn is also just people at home creating their
free
own
range, homegrown,
free
grass-fed.
range, homegrown.
Grass-fed.
But it ranges, right?
Yeah.
So you have like the people who are doing their own videos and creating their own content, and then you also have high level production like Erica Lust, where they treat it like any other film, and they put the pre-pro in there, and they prep, and they hire the right people, and they create these beautiful set designs, and they create stories, and they have all that stuff, and really good fucking.
Sometimes the story, I mean, I like a lot of role playing. Sometimes when I can't quite get in the mood, you know, you hop into a role play, I'm like, it's like so quick, it's like there, you know what I mean? So like with the stories and stuff, yeah, it makes sense that, you know, putting that effort in, it's going to be a more enjoyable thing to watch, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And who doesn't love good production value?
I'm telling you.
You know?
Lighting, sound, okay?
Yeah.
What does crafty look like?
Yeah, what does crafty look like? Listen, doing porn is really, really difficult if you were a performer.
Oh, I know. I have a friend, she's a major adult film entertainer, and she'll tell me, like, when she's prepping for scenes or something, she'll be like, I can't like eat this way for like the whole week. You know, we're doing like an anal scene. It's going to be like several hours of doing this. It's like, you know, I cheated and like I had a taco on set one day, and I was like, you know, it's like you got to do super, you know, it's like a whole thing for her, and you know, it's.
Which is why they should be paid fairly, and why ethical porn is so important.
Yeah.
So that they are paid fairly for their time and treated well, and you know, same as all actors, you know, same as any performer. Hey, performers, it takes a lot to do that job.
I wonder how it's affected the industry of OnlyFans with all these like amateur people coming out doing stuff, you know. I wonder about that. I don't know why I wonder about. I'm wondering about it right now. That's, you know.
That's a fair thing to think about. I don't have the
because she's been in the industry for a while, and OnlyFans has kind of given this whole other rise to like a middle class kind of sex worker, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think also with the pandemic coming and going, less people are doing OnlyFans than they were a few years ago. So I think it got that bump because everybody was home and everybody wanted the content and everybody wanted to be creating content and they needed to be doing it for money. But even once clubs opened up again, a lot of people would have shifted off of OnlyFans. And I know a lot of people that were doing it that are just not doing it anymore.
Yeah. It's like anything else hard to keep up with, especially if you have other interests, right?
Well, people think that it's like, oh, you just like put some photos on. Like, no, it's a job. Like you are constantly, you're connecting with people and you're creating content and it's all the things.
I had two friends, they outsourced their interactions to like a third party company.
Yeah.
So for the fellows who are doing it, you might be talking to some Indian person. I swear to God, this is not made up. You might just be talking to
But at the end of the day, does it matter?
No, it doesn't
if you're
matter.
Still getting the value and you're still getting what you came for, doesn't matter. You're still having the experience.
It doesn't,
it's a white label experience, but it's an experience, no less.
Yeah, there it is.
So, okay, we all grew up with the same bullshit of like abstinence and, oh my God.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Rockland County.
Okay.
So probably close to you.
Where? In Mahwah.
Oh, my mom worked in Mahwah.
That's why.
I was all up in your hood all the time.
Because we had friends that lived in Rockland County.
We would hit up Mahwah for gas and clothing because you don't have tax.
Did you ever go to the Palisades Mall?
All the time.
You know, I went there a couple months ago, and it's just so different than it's just like feels like it's falling apart. Not falling apart.
It was always falling apart.
But the mall,
go ahead.
The mall doesn't have the same allure as it used to have. You know what I mean?
They didn't. That mall was do you remember when it was being built?
Well, I remember it was being built. It was like sinking. There were cracks and stuff.
Yeah, and they built it on Native American burial grounds, and everyone protested, and it was a whole
I was a little
thing.
bit too young for that. But like when it was finished, I think I must have been in high school when it was finished.
Yeah.
You know,
because I'm 3 years older than you.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah. So I was around, but still, I mean, the difference between 12 and 9, right? I think it was like 12 or 13 when they started building that. You know, it's that's a whole thing. But in any event, like we grew up in like similar areas, and it wasn't you know, being in New York City, you would think that things were really like open and free and you know, but it's just not. Like suburbs are suburbs, and wherever you are, it is about abstinence and just like I don't remember anything other than like you're going to get pregnant and have STDs, and also here's a baby coming out of your vagina. Like, no context, bad vibes.
Yeah. That's kind of what it was for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
although my mom would always tell me that women were like a huge distraction. So I was like afraid of women for a little bit too. Like I didn't want to dive into a relationship because I feel like it would derail my wherever the fuck I was going. I don't know.
Okay, so my mom was the opposite, and she
like, find yourself a nice man.
Find yourself a nice none of that.
Okay.
She watched way too much 2020. So like every man wants to fuck you, everyone's gonna steal you. Like this is that. So there, I was, like your shirt is too short. You're like pull your shirt down, pull your skirt down, like all of that stuff. A lot of purity culture. She grew up Catholic and converted to Judaism, so like a very religious person. And I think a lot of that is like the Catholic guilt and stuff because she was a model in the 60s and 70s. So like she was hot and flaunting it.
We were supposed to be Catholic. We were Catholic for a little bit.
Yeah. So it's the messaging is like, for you, girls are a distraction. They're going to fuck up your world. For me, it was boys are going to fuck you over. They're going to fuck you and fuck you over. Like, be careful. They're dangerous. But the messaging that both of us received seems to be the opposite sex is dangerous. Stay away.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
It's real fucked up.
That is real fucked up.
But so many of us got that same messaging, and reasonably so for women and people with vulvas. For sure.
Yeah.
But if you look at boys growing up, women and girls were positioned as the devil, especially if you're looking at purity culture. It's like, this girl's gonna poison you. But but if you have sex with her, like, it's fine, don't worry, Jesus will save you. But if the girl does it, then it's
I happened to my mom. My mom, she was Brazilian. She grew up in Brazil, and she got pregnant at 17, and she was kind of like enemy number one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And if it was, and I don't know what happened. I don't think anything happened to the guy.
Nothing did. Of course nothing did. Why would it?
So somebody probably gave him a high five or some shit.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
These messages, this is why talking about this stuff is so important.
Yeah.
So when was it for you that you said you were in like your late 20s when you started to realize sex wasn't just like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you? How did you learn?
Well, I mean, I moved to LA for a girl, and she was the one that kind of like put me on that like dom sub type of relationship, and I didn't even know that was like something I could do. Right? I didn't even know. Right?
Yeah.
I was just happy to be like in the presence of a naked woman for so long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know. And then so it just kind of kept evolving, and as you get older, your time is more valuable. So like you want the experiences you have to be better, and the sex you have to have more value and be a better experience, right? Because if you're just having sex with multiple people, then it's like a problem. But if you really have sex with intention and have sex for the sake of pleasure and enjoyment and what can we get out of this? I mean, there's times like sometimes there's no penetration at all. It's just like a bunch of hand stuff, and it's like also equally great.
It's the fucking best.
You know what I mean? And it's like, all right, that's great. I don't know. It did shift. I'm trying to think. Like, it's been a slow, because I'm going to be 37 at the beginning of February. But yeah, around like 30ish, like 28, 27. I feel like I just started. Yeah, I don't know. I started seeing somebody new. And my current partner, we had gone to like some sex parties and had some threesome friends, and we're kind of out there doing some fun stuff, and just like kind of exploring all that stuff and seeing what that was like, And now, now it's even evolving more. I mean, I've known my girl for like 10 years, and the other day she was like, "Hey, can you bite me?" I'm like, "Sure." I honestly was surprised we hadn't been doing that. I didn't even think to do it, and then we started doing it this week, and it like has leveled up. It's like totally shifted the way, like it's like a more animalistic, even more primal animalistic than I could even like imagine. I don't know. So even then, it's like I'm still learning shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like you just add these things to your arsenal of, you want to come here? Yeah, that's okay. Oh, you want to grab her? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, she's fine now. But yeah, that's it. We're always learning and growing.
Stuff,
what do you think has been your best resources?
I mean, the women I'm having sex with.
Yeah.
Right? That's your best resource. I don't know. Talk to them.
Yeah.
And ask them what they want, you know?
Yeah, but
don't be embarrassed when they're like, no, just a little bit further down. You're like, almost, because every woman's clit is a different size. Some have like a bigger clitoral head than others. Some have, it's all different. And so, you know, some women, a small percentage come just easily through penetration.
Mm-hmm.
Some other women have never had an orgasm. Some women orgasm straight from the clitoral stimulation. Some women orgasm from their breasts. I mean, like, and so it's kind of like unlocking a safe, and you might have to do a couple of different things. And you know, I've made peace with the fact that sometimes I may not make the woman come.
Yeah.
And I really want.
Totally
I really want you to come. I really do. But sometimes it's like I might be going down here for like 20. My neck's fucking hurting. It's like I'm thinking about then like your dick might go. Sometimes I'll be getting head and my dick goes soft because I'm like it's taking me a little bit of a while to come, and then I feel guilty. I'm like, oh, now she's probably tired and it's taking too long. And then it's like, you know what, let's just stop.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like all that is okay.
Yes. Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Like you can stop at any time.
Yeah.
Like I've definitely been mid blowjob and been like, you know what? I'm not having fun anymore.
Yeah,
And
you know.
so I'm good. Like I will be here if you want to finish yourself, if I can support you anyway, here for that. I myself have reached my maximum.
Yeah, shout out to one girl I hooked up with. Like I came a little bit earlier than I would have liked, and she was like, "It's all good." She just like whipped out what's the word? What's the
Vibrator?
Vibrator? No, what's the other one? The
dildo?
No, the one that like sucks
like
the clit.
literal. Yeah. Satisfier, but there are many
There's
brands.
many.
The sucker.
The one that looks like a port that sucks the.
Yeah. Little sucker.
And she was like, "Let me just take that out." I'm like, "All right." Cool. And then while she did that, I just like fingered her, and she was like, loved that.
Yeah, it's fucking great. Are you kidding me?
So I was like,
it's supported masturbation.
100%.
Fantastic.
100%.
I do this. You can do that too, and
Yeah.
that's just gonna like elevate the whole experience. But that's the kind of stuff that we need to normalize, because it's not like, yes, you want to make somebody come, but that's not the goal.
Right.
Pleasure is the goal, and if pleasure is the goal, then even when somebody does not reach the point of orgasm, it doesn't matter because everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
And it feels good. It doesn't have to culminate in an orgasm to feel good.
Yeah.
That's like, great, you got to that point, that's amazing. But there's, you know, it's back to the goal oriented. Like if your goal is to make someone have an orgasm, you're not going to do it. But if your goal is to be curious and find out how to give them the most pleasure, you are going to succeed every fucking time.
Have fun, yeah.
Every fucking time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's being relaxed is a big part of it, you know.
And that's why
take
also
that
like
pressure off. It makes it so much easier.
Expectations.
Take the expectations out. Take the pressure off. Stop. Start. You know, there's no defined way it's supposed to be. That's what I mean. It's sometimes the thing you're not expecting to do is like the best thing. You know, you didn't think you'd like it or not. You know, so.
Yeah, I mean that's why I always like to remind people that sex is a form of play, and the more playful we can be curious, we can try things.
If you go on a date and the girl or the guy says, "Hey, you want to play a little bit? Like, you want to play?" Like, hang out with that person.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I dated someone who like hated the word play, and I'm like, oh, okay, so no, that's not like it. The fuck? No, like it's not serious. Sex does not have to be serious. And when we make it this like hard, serious thing, we're removing the elements that do create pleasure and relaxation and remove expectation. It is play, and adults need to find different ways to play. That's why I love improv so much. It gets us into that space of playing and being so grounded and present with the person or people that we're with, that if we check out for a second, the whole scene is fucked. And it's the same thing with sex, right? Like if you check out, we're like, okay, we need to just pause and start over again because it's just not.
Do a reset.
Yeah, resets are totally fine. Get some water.
For you in your relationship, this is a personal question for you. You don't have to answer if you don't want it. But for you, is like having a sexual connection with a person a huge focal point? Obviously, I mean, is it?
For me personally, that is in an intimate relationship, that is the thing. I have been in platonic polyamorous romantic relationships before. Ruby.
Ruby.
She's censoring. Come here, little creature.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I have been in platonic dynamics before, and I fully support that, but that was also when I had a sexual partner as well.
Oh, yeah.
So for me personally, in my own world, the sex is the priority, but again, the sex for me is intimate, it is connected, it is, intentional. So that does come along with a lot more. So it's never really going to be like a wham bam, thank you ma'am, casual, anything like that. But it can be casual and deeply intimate, so for me in romantic relationships, yes, that is the most important thing. And I do think that unless you're specifically looking for a non-sexual relationship, a platonic romantic relationship, that we do need to give more weight to the sexual compatibility and the sexual chemistry, because no matter what type of relationship you're in, it will eventually catch up with you.
Yeah, no, that's I've known people who on the low, they're like, yeah, we've been married, I just want to do these things, and like they don't want to do it, and then if they don't do it, they're going to seek it somewhere else. I'm sorry to say that. They're going to seek it some other way. And I'm not saying by cheating, but it could be by means of drinking too much. Or, you know what I mean? It is, and it's also, I think it's kind of just unreasonable for you to expect your partner to be able to do fulfill you in every single way. Be your friend, be your lover, be your confidant, be your, be your homeboy that it's like,
it's a lot of pressure. Again, like the pressure and expectations, right? Like it's a lot to be that thing for everybody. Is like, that's why for me in my romantic relationships, it's like, you're first and foremost here for that purpose, so that I can have that deep, beautiful, intimate sex that I want to be having. And everything else, like obviously we need to get along and have like values and stuff like that. Even if it's just casual sex, I want to be able to share values with that person, because that's where the intention comes in, and that's where the intimacy and the safety comes in. But for me, it's like that piece has to be there, and everything else is the bonus, because I'm getting everything else from the other relationships in my life. So if the sexual piece isn't there, that's fine. It just means that we're not going to be sexual together. We are going to have a different type of relationship.
Yeah.
Not always like everything is different, and maybe it does become a platonic.
I think Dolly Parton and her husband are a good example. Nobody knows exactly what the relationship between Dolly Parton and her husband is. Mm-hmm. Some people think Dolly Parton might be a lesbian. Some people think, because they've had like this weird, she claims that she just like flirts with other people, but they've been together for, I don't know, 40, I don't know how long, I don't even know how old she is anymore. She's like a bionic woman.
Decades and decades.
And she's still looking fine,
She's fine as hell.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? It's the communication. And so what you were talking about with people not necessarily being able to, like, I want this thing, but my partner doesn't want that. We lack the ability to have a complex conversation around that, and an ongoing conversation, because maybe they're not willing to do this, but there are other things that can create a similar experience that they are open to. That's why I have a yes, no, maybe list, because it just, I don't know what she's doing. But that's why I have a yes, no, maybe list for people, because it just helps create the conversation, and it helps move that conversation forward, because they're like
yes, no, maybe list. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's just, and I do have a section there that's all about like sensual connections, where it's not going to lead to sex, because again, when we can remove the genitals going into each other and orgasm, when we can take that off the table and just focus on a sensual connection, we're learning the skills to have better sex when we do want it to then move into a space that is explicitly sexual. They're all going to be sexual and sensual.
Unless you're already thinking about like Confessions of an Intimacy Coordinator or something like that. You don't have to like tell particular stories, but you can even make stories up, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
People don't know what's real and what's not,
No. But they're all, there's so much of this stuff that's super, super relatable that, we're all experiencing, because none of us were ever taught how to do it. And it's all communication. Just like you were saying, bringing it back to the beginning.
I was talking about how like, I'm thinking about like, I'm in my mid to late 30s now, and thinking about my like elementary school teachers who were this age, and now I try to think like, God, were they doing the same nasty shit that I'm doing?
Some of them were.
You know what? I think about that, like, because like when you think about people in certain contexts, I was like, I can never imagine. When you're a kid, you can never imagine that they cannot wait to get off their shift to go get fucking violated after this.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I just think about that sometimes. I don't know.
And parents too.
Oof.
Like so many parents of kids, and I totally understand it, but they're like, oh my God, ew, gross. And it's like, no. I want my parents to be having exquisite sex and beautiful orgasms and deep pleasure.
Yeah.
I don't think they are, but I want that for them. I want them to be having that because every human being deserves to feel that and have all those hormones released and have that connection with another human being or themselves. Like, you know.
That's funny.
I'm
just thinking.
We're all about anything about, you know.
I was thinking like, does my mom want a vibrator?
Hopefully.
I hope she does. I hope she does.
You could always get
I almost thought about anonymously sending her one. Isn't that insane?
No. You could anonymously send her a gift card to a sex brand.
I don't know, but then that's just like.
But then
she's
a
little bit older. I don't know if she'll figure out how to use it.
Yeah, you got to find an.
We should probably give it to me. She'd be like, "What is this?
What is this?
Oh.
Let me help you go shopping."
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, that was for me.
Yeah.
Morgan.
Are we already wrapping up? Where are we at? We're almost at an hour.
It's time for a pop quiz.
Oh shit! Let's do it.
What is frauding?
Frauding, like in a sexual context?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I never heard that term. I don't know.
Frauding is when two penises are rubbing up against each other.
Oh, I was thinking it was like docking. No, you know what docking is? That's not like a real thing, but I mean I don't know if it's a real. But frauding. Okay, frauding.
Mm-hmm.
How do you? Is it like fraud, like tax fraud, or is it FRODDING?
So FROT or FROTTING.
Frauding. I might have to ask my buddy Zach Noe Towers. He'd be a good person to have on the podcast too.
Ooh, great! Yeah, let's have him on.
Yeah. I have to ask him about that.
Yeah.
Frauds. He's gay.
So I recently learned about this at the expo. And there is a sex toy company, Justin, forget his last name, sorry Justin, but the company is Cock Blockers. And so he created the first toy that is meant for two penises or a penis and a strap-on to go into together. So it's got a hole on each side. It's like, you know, this big or whatever it is. And it's got the holes that you can put your penises into, and they like kind of meet closer in the middle. So
guys can like do that and make out and stuff.
Yeah, and they can fuck it together.
Oh wait, they could fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, this big or whatever it is, and there's a hole here and there's a hole here, and you put the penises in.
Oh, so they're like next to each
side.
other?
Yeah, they're next to each
Oh,
other.
I thought it was like one hole was on this side and the other was like, you know.
Nope, they're right next to each other so that you can be like you can be entering the same thing with your partner at the same time, and it works for a strap-on or anything else you want to put there, or your best buddy,
or your gym buddy, your gym bro.
Yeah. So you know there are pleasure products out there for everybody. Truly, everybody.
Guys are just inventing different ways to like put their dick in holes, like different types
Pretty
of
much.
holes. I mean that's kind of
that's
what
the thing
it
that
is.
feels good, right? So yeah.
They do be feeling good.
They do be feeling good.
They do be feeling pretty
I mean,
good.
listen, if I had a dick, I would for sure be testing many consensual holes.
Yeah.
You know? I'd be like, that's a hole. I actually,
Tell us. I feel like I've been confessing too much. I feel like I say too much.
No, this is great. This is a funny one. But I would really love, first of all, I love the helicopter. Okay?
Oh, yeah,
like the helicopter,
goofy.
solid goofy piece of art, right?
Yeah.
So, I would love to see a helicopter by two people with penises that can end in like a co-slap.
Wow.
Right?
That'd be kind of funny.
Right?
To see. Yeah, that'd be goofy to see.
It would be goofy as fuck. It'd be so fun.
Yeah.
So that's my dream.
You'd have to find two guys who are relatively the same height.
Yep.
With both pretty large.
They'd have to be long just for the stretch of it all.
Yeah.
Also, we could put those little like hands at the end of the penises. You know, like the hands that you could put on your fingers.
You get a high five. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Wouldn't it be funny?
Yeah,
so if you feel that you can do that and make that dream come true, you know, shoot us an email, birdsandbeesdon'tfuckwithout@gmail.com. Because I just think that would be
That's hilarious.
Fun. Yeah.
You're inventing new terms. What's going on?
Yeah. I don't know what I would call that. The helicopter 10?
Helicopter high
Chopper
five.
10?
The helicopter high five, dude.
But it's
what are those?
two fives.
No, you would call it. What are the? It's like those military.
Chopper 5.
No, the military helicopters that have the two blades.
Oh!
There's like a military word, so it's probably like the M17 or some shit.
Yeah. It's like
Double Black Hawk.
the D69. No, it's not 69 though. Double Hawk.
Yeah.
Double D.
Black Hawk up.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you can't be that far up because then you're not going to be able to do the helicopter. They got to be flaccid.
Yeah.
You know, this is just a goofy thing to do if you have a penis. So.
Yeah.
I guess I could try it with a strap on, but you wouldn't get it.
It's not
you can't do a flaccid.
It wouldn't be the same.
No, it definitely wouldn't. And the whole thing is like the technique.
You put the strap on and I'll get naked and we'll figure it out after.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would work.
We'll
you know,
I
could do the dildo that you haven't seen topped over. It's so sad. Just staring at the balls. Yeah. It has made it on the show before right here, but then it kind of fucked up the wallpaper. So I was like, I would like to just have them hanging out.
How big is it?
I'll get them in
Let me see.
Final seconds.
Get them in the final seconds.
We're going to get him in the final seconds.
Yeah.
He's got his little cock ring on.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
There you go.
Let's take a look at this guy. Oh, there's balls on it too.
Yeah, there's balls. I bought it for, demonstrating things. And then I opened it and realized it's clear. You can't see anything on camera if it's clear.
What do you mean it's clear? This is clear?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really see. Like, if this was colored, I could be able to point out parts of the penis a little bit better.
I see.
Like, talking about.
You know what's funny? Most girls don't realize that, like, this area over here.
Very sensitive.
Is, like, probably the most sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't, like, if you just focus on this area, you're gotta come pretty quick.
Yeah. Take a little thumb, do one of these.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
Where
can people find you?
Go to morganj.com, Jay, or just Google me. Right now, the tour is sold out all the way through May, but I can assure you that we are planning some big stuff with this new these new followers, these new fans, and I will be going like all over the world, all over the country, and I'm very excited to meet meet my fans.
Yes, and if you did not buy your ticket for his show, you can see his special on YouTube.
That's right. I got 2 specials on YouTube, so I hope my ex doesn't see this. And Morgan J Live at the Village. Those are the 2 specials. If you watch Morgan J Live at the Village, I can almost, and you watch it with a second or third date, I can guarantee you will have sex, or at the very least make out a little bit. There's like literally a song telling you to do it in the special.
It's true.
Literally in the special, I'm encouraging it. So do yourself a favor.
We love a good.
And what comedian does that?
Yeah, who's gonna do that?
Who's gonna lay the groundwork for you to get some sloppy toppy or whatever the fuck?
Pleasure first.
Yeah.
Pleasure first. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If you like this episode, then tell your friends. Give us a 5-star review, rate it, do all the things. Help me spread the word. Yeah, no, you're not going to break it. It's a cock ring. It's pretty big. I've got classes. I've got one-on-one coaching sessions, stuff like that. All the things. I'm doing a terrible job promoting, but I got a bunch of shit for you. So just go to Birds and Bees Don't Fuck, and everything will be in the show notes. We are here to support you in having the most pleasure you could possibly have.
Absolutely.
That's it. Goodbye.